Are you considering making the move to Sacramento and are wondering what it costs to live here?
Today, we're going to break down the top 6 cost of living items when moving to the Sacramento region.
What's up, everyone? I'm Danny, and this is my wife, Shantae. And if this is your first time tuning in to Living in the Sacramento Suburbs channel, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and smash that notification bell so that you are notified each and every time that we drop a new video.
We're licensed realtors here in the Sacramento region, and we absolutely love when our viewers reach out to have us help them find their next home here. So you gotta give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, and book a Zoom in the link below. However you want to get a hold of us, we got your back when moving to the Sacramento area. So let's get into those top 6 cost of living items for Sacramento.
All right, let's get into it. Number 1, cost of living when it comes to housing. This is one of the biggest ones. And this can vary greatly depending upon if you're looking to either rent or buy. And to take it a step further, it can vary depending upon if you're looking to buy a house, rent an apartment, or buy or rent a condo as well. So let's talk about some of those numbers and see what those look like for you guys.
First, let's talk about purchasing a home. Here in the Sacramento region, it's still a pretty competitive market. We would still determine that it's a seller's market. There's more buyers than there are sellers or homes for sale. According to Realtor.com, the median listing home price in Sacramento, California was $499,000 in January of 2023. This is flat year over year. And our median home sold was $475,000. You can see from this image that prices have come down from their peak in 2022, but they're still holding strong based on demand.
Now, this is a median price for Sac County. Now, depending upon where you're looking to live, it can cost you more. It can run anywhere from $800,000 and up, or $1 million plus, especially if you're looking for newer construction homes.
Now, that was the average for Sacramento County, but you'll find a lot of our suburbs are actually in surrounding counties. For example, we have Placer County that has Roseville, Rocklin, and Lincoln, where homes are probably going to run you $100,000 more compared to the Sacramento region. We also have El Dorado County with El Dorado Hills. Those could run upwards of a $200,000 price adder. So it really depends on what suburbs you're looking at, but know those general Sacramento numbers for Sac County are going to include a lot of the lower price areas, but the suburbs are going to run higher.
Other cost of living expenses that must be taken into consideration are property taxes, Melrose, fire insurance, and flood insurance as well. Now, these expenses all can vary depending upon the area that you're looking in. It's very important that you work with a hyper-local agent that is an expert in knowing which areas would require a special insurance. So, for example, we had a client that was looking into an area that actually required fire insurance. They absolutely loved the home. We suggested that they get a quote from their insurance company, and sure enough, came back that they would be paying over $1,000 a month for fire insurance for that area that the home was located in. From that point on, they moved on quickly in their search to a different area. So again, make sure that your agent specializes in the market that you're looking to purchase in.
Now, you may not be ready to buy. You may need to relocate here first and visit all the areas, and so you might want to rent, or maybe you need to save up once you get here with the lower cost of living, and again, maybe you want to rent first. So we're going to jump into some of the rent prices, but I must tell you that as realtors here in Sacramento or the greater Sacramento region, realtors do not represent rentals in our MLS or just in general in the transaction. We're not involved. We have some property management companies in the area, but a lot of times you're going to find these rentals on Zillow, HotPads, apartments.com. So we can point you to some good resources. We can obviously educate you on the different areas to consider, but we don't actually represent clients as realtors here in the Sacramento region. We would give a big warning to looking on things like Craigslist. So again, we'll point you to some reputable sources, and today we're just going to go over some of those high-level costs of a rental here in Sacramento.
Okay, so here are some average rents for renting a house in Sacramento. A one bedroom on average is going to be about $1,700, as you can see there. I would say the most popular is going to be about a 3-bedroom for families, 3-bedroom and up. So an average for a 3-bedroom is $2,300, and the average for a 4-bedroom is about $2,700. And you can also see those rent ranges there.
The average rent for apartments in Sacramento is between $1,400 and $2,000. This may sound high for some, but it's actually down from 2022 numbers. Now, once you have the home, that leads us to our second cost of living factor, and that would be utilities. Sacramento actually comes in as a very reasonable within California when it comes to utilities.
Let's start with electric. So SMUD, which stands for Sacramento Municipal Utility District, is pretty much your electricity provider for all of Sacramento County. This map here shows the service area. So again, it is Sacramento County. It's important to note that they don't service the entire Sacramento Metro area, as some areas are not part of Sacramento County. Key suburbs not covered by SMUD are incorporated Roseville, which has its own utilities, which rates run lower than SMUD. And then you have Rocklin, Lincoln, Granite Bay, and part of Dorado Hills that are PG&E, whose rates are significantly higher than SMUD and are again outside of Sacramento County. According to SMUD's website, their rates are amongst the lowest in the state of California. On average, they're about 45% lower than the neighboring PG&E. Let's take a look at these rates.
So when it comes to SMUD, you're going to have variability in the rates. They have fixed rates and they also have flex rates, which are going to depend on the time of day, where you're going to pay a premium between that 5 to 8 p.m. range, where the grid is normally stressed with everyone coming home from work and doing chores around the house. You're also going to have a variance between non-summer months and summer months, where again there's high demand on the grid because everyone's running their ACs here during the heat waves, and so again the charges fluctuate depending on the time of day. They're really trying to encourage people to use energy in those off-peak times. Again, they are still one of the lowest costs when we come to compare them to the other utility providers. Looking at this next visual comparison on their site, you can see that being in SMUD service boundaries could drastically reduce your electricity bill. They're here on the left, and this is going off of a basic residential bill of using 750 kilowatts in the month of January 2023. For SMUD on the left, a customer would be at about 131, whereas column 2 with PG&E, you can see that almost doubles. And like we mentioned, when you're in some of the suburbs, like City of Roseville is the third column, you will find you might even have cheaper rates than SMUD. Now, don't take this topic lightly, because every year we continue to see in neighborhood Facebook groups people astonished that have moved here and maybe moved into one of those regions with PG&E, and they get their first summer bill and it's well over $1,000, and they have no idea, what this cost of utilities is. And so it's really important to know where you're purchasing, what the utility providers are, and how much those are probably going to run you for your monthly bills.
While we're talking about utilities, we might as well go ahead and talk about solar and talk about how this can really yield you some really nice savings when it comes to your energy bill. We've had clients that actually receive credits because of how little energy they used after taking into account their solar production. Just be careful though to get a good understanding if the home has owned or leased solar, as there still may be a monthly bill. New construction is required to have solar, but again, every builder is addressing the mandate in different ways. Some are including the system in the price of the home, others may give you the option to buy it outright or lease and have a monthly payment.
Natural gas is going to be your next key utility, and our only natural gas provider for the Sacramento region is PG&E. Natural gas is going to be used for things like your water heater, gas cooktops, gas fireplaces, possibly your pool or spa heat if you don't have solar heat, and a big hitter is the heater in the winter time. In the summer months, this bill can run as low as $30 to $50, but in the winter with running the heater can easily get up to a few $100s, as natural gas rates have soared the past year or so.
Lastly, for utilities, there's water, sewer, and trash. Now, your water bill can vary depending upon the area you live in or the district you live in, if you have a pool, how big your yard is that you're watering, and also how many people that you have in your household.
Or if you have a son, like our teenager, that's spending about an hour a day at the shower, and using up a lot of hot water.
2 showers a day.
Now, sewer is going to run you about $60 a month, and then trash is also going to run normally between like $35 and $45, and that's both for your trash, your recycling, your green waste, and food waste. So depending on where you live, the bins are a little bit different, and if you have a larger household, you can also have a couple bins, and so they'll charge you a little bit more for that.
And you have options from a 30 gallon to a 60 gallon to a 90 gallon. And again, those rates could vary depending upon which gallon you go with or how many bins you have. So in all, you're probably looking to spend about $350 with your utilities, but it can easily get up to plus $600 if you have a pool, if you have electrical vehicles charging, how big your home is. That can vary. So again, I would say the range is probably about $350 to $600 again, depending upon the size of your home and what you got going on there.
Now, if you're looking to maybe save a little bit on utilities, then a new construction home might be the best option for you. They're both water efficient and energy efficient. Building codes have come a long ways. They evolve every few years, and so a new construction home is going to have better insulation, it's going to have better windows, better roof barriers, it's going to have solar, and it's going to have energy efficient appliances and water heaters and just everything they have to build to a very strict code nowadays. And so if you're looking to save, we would definitely suggest looking at a new construction home to reduce your overall monthly bills.
Yeah, and I think that's really important because the builders are starting to understand that, hey, we build houses more efficiently to help you save on the other end. So again, these codes change all the time. The builders know it, and they are helping you guys out when it comes to your energy savings. So number 3 on our cost of living expenses are miscellaneous housing expenses. All right. So we understand that, hey, not only do we live here, we have our normal bills, but there are other services that we have. So for example, you have like your pool, you have your streaming, you have your cable, your internet, you have all this stuff going on, right? All these additional services, you have house cleaners. And so this can definitely affect, or impact your cost of living. So again, for example, we have a pool service, right? So we have a pool, it gets pretty hot during the summer, and it's a great way to help us cool off. However, that does come with an expense, whether it's a higher water and electricity bill or having basic pool service. So our monthly pool service costs us about $100 a month, and the pool boy comes out weekly to make sure that our chemicals are balanced, okay? Just to make sure that everything's going well. So again, that costs about $100 a month, and I would say that's probably on the low end as these pool services are starting to get more and more expensive.
We find that there's a lot of working families in our area, and so a lot of people do have housekeepers to keep up that come maybe every other week. So we have housekeepers. We rather spend our time enjoying it with the kids instead of cleaning toilets and showers. And so it's kind of nice to have them come in every 2 weeks and do a little bit deeper clean than that everyday cleanup. That for our house, we're in 2,800 square feet, runs us about $180 a month. That's going to vary if you find an individual or if you go for one of the services, but we do find that it's a pretty popular thing in our communities and our suburbs that people are having housekeepers once or twice a month.
So the other miscellaneous household expense that a lot of people have are landscapers. We have landscapers, they come every single Friday to make sure that, our yard looks good. So, that's normally when we have people over on the weekend. So when people pull up, they can see we have a nice curb appeal, we're taking care of our yard, but that comes with an expense, right? So we pay, it's actually pretty cheap what we pay because we give our landscapers a lot of business, but we pay about $80 a month, but most people can expect to pay about $100 to $150 a month for your landscapers to come and make sure your yard and bushes and everything is maintained for them to come weekly.
So outside of services, we have internet and cable, and it seems like most families don't go without either of these items in some respect. So first is internet. Pretty much everyone needs it for work and school, and then all of our streaming services. So those bills are normally going to run you between $50 and $100, determined by the level of service you want. Do you want We have fiber optics in some of the neighborhoods where you can get super high speeds. You know, if you're in the outskirts somewhere, maybe you have satellite internet. So it varies. A lot of times people are bundling that with their cable if they're going to go with a cable provider, where you can save a little bit of money. But I would definitely budget for $50 to $100, and that's probably similar no matter where you're coming from, most likely.
Now, your cable bill can vary widely depending upon who your provider is, and if you're getting like premium services or channels like HBO, Showtime, or the packages like the NFL package, NFL ticket, or the NBA packages. But I think most people are paying about $150 a month, you know, and those prices seem to be going up annually, just like everything else is.
Yeah, another thing we often see on the neighborhood Nextdoor app or something, everyone's always asking, we're like, how did you get your bill down? Oh, call in, tell them you're going to cancel, always renegotiate. So it seems like most of the cable providers continue to increase their prices when you're outside that intro period. So make sure you always call in and renegotiate your discounts or switch providers at the end of your contract.
I mean, we decided to drop our cable probably about 6 or 7 years ago and just solely stream, to be honest with you. We just got sick and tired of every year calling in to try to negotiate when we seen that they were raising their prices. But we also noticed like they're running these deals for like new signups, and I'm like, that's a way better deal than what we're getting and a way better package for way less than we were paying. And I was like, you know what, I'm tired of it, I'm done. You know, I think we can do without it. And like I said, 6-7 years ago, we've been good ever since. Yeah. So most people are streaming these days anyways.
Yeah, so make sure you have good internet, especially if you're going to have the kids on the network at the same time. But our kids are streaming Disney Plus. We stream all of our premium movie channels. We get local stations just directly through our TV. So we've been able, or Amazon, Fire Stick. It's so easy to get to all the content nowadays. Just have good internet and you can reach it.
Yeah. Bottom line, the expense is probably the exact same from where you're coming from right now. So you can expect those costs to just transfer over and for you to be paying pretty much the same thing. So that wraps up our miscellaneous cost of living house expenses. So before we move on to the next cost of living expense, make sure that you like this video, subscribe, and tap that notification bell so that you are notified for future content, all right? Now moving on to our fourth cost of living factor, and that is transportation. According to bestplaces.net, the typical American commute has been getting longer and longer since 2010. So the average Sacramento person commutes about 25 minutes one way, which is about a minute less than the US average of 26 minutes. The majority of people here in Sacramento, 74% to be exact, drive to work. Between commuting to work, dropping the kids off at school, taking the kids to activities, running errands, this can have an overall impact on your cost of living. Now, if you're coming from an area or out of state where gas prices are more than likely cheaper, as California's are always higher than the rest of the nation, you may have to take this into account, right? So, for example, Costco gas runs about $4.14 a gallon to about $5.19 a gallon for diesel. The good news, I would say though, that if you're living in the Sacramento region, pretty much anywhere you work, you're probably not going to be driving no more than an hour anywhere in the Sacramento region. Now, we recognize that there's a lot of electrical vehicles on the road these days, and that can reduce your cost of transportation, especially if you're charging your vehicle at home, right? But if you're not charging at home, I would advise just to be cautious if you're charging at a supercharging station, as those rates can be almost as high as gas prices. And not only that, it's taking you much, much longer to charge your electrical vehicle than it is to fill up a tank of gas.
Now, let's move on to the next cost of living factor that most families have to consider when moving to the region, and that's education and childcare. Now, depending on where you're coming from, you might actually save money with this first one on education. We have great public schools for our students to attend. In several of our suburbs, we have very highly rated schools, and good news is they're free. We also even have free school lunches across our public schools, but a lot of our relocation clients, they're used to paying for private school. And here in the Sacramento region, you have several options where you can choose to do free public school. For those that still want private school, in 2023 we have 57 private schools here in the Sacramento region. The best top-ranked private schools in Sacramento include Sacramento Country Day School, Brookfield School, and Mary Hill Elementary and Middle School in Midtown. Our average tuition cost is just over $12,000 a year, which is lower than the California average of close to $16,000. We also have charter school options, which are free. One of our popular ones that has multiple sites throughout the region is John Adams Academy, which is TK through 12th grade. Now, if your kids aren't in school yet, then your biggest expense is probably childcare. We have several options for you to choose from, whether it's in-home care or the daycare centers, and the prices are going to vary depending on if it's an infant or a toddler, and this is probably similar to the area that you're coming from. But I would plan on your average cost to be somewhere between that $10,000 to $17,000 mark, depending on which option you choose.
And that's a year, correct?
Yes, for sure.
Not a month.
Yeah. I would say about $1,200 a month for, but when you start breaking it down. Also, a lot of people, especially working families, are needing before and after school care when their kids are going to school. And so that program, we have ones directly through the school here in where we live. It's called Adventure Club. It's really nice because it's located on our child's campus. And so we utilized that for our son when he was younger. He actually had a great time there, playing with his friends, doing his homework. That's going to run you $20 to $40 a day, depending on if you need just before or just after, or if you need both. There's also services that come and pick up the students from campus and drive them back to the bigger daycare centers, and those tend to run a tad bit more, but might offer you more services that you're looking for. So childcare is definitely a pretty large expense for most families, and what I would suggest is that's one of those things that you definitely want to research early, because if you're looking at some of our top rated daycares or schools, whatever it is that you're looking for, you might need to get on a wait list. We have a lot of families moving to the area, and so there is a lot of demand for you to get on that wait list for.
Now, our last cost of living factor that we like to highlight is the food. Sacramento runs a little bit higher than the national average, but they are lower than the California average.
And on our family, this is a really big deal. We have a growing teenager. Danny's a foodie. We like high quality, organic foods and meats, and so your bill is going to really vary based on your household size and what types of foods you eat, and if you go out to eat a lot. When it comes to grocery shopping, you're going to find various options to meet your budget. We have the affordable kind of grocery outlets, Winco. We have the more expensive grocery stores like the Nugget and Whole Foods. We have the big box retailers like Walmart and Target, as well as the Costco's, the Sam's Clubs. We also have farmers markets throughout the entire region. We're trademarked the farm to fork capital now, and it really does show when our farmers markets come out, the weather gets good. We have one here just a couple miles down the road at one of our regional parks. That's every Sunday. That is a great way to go get some local produce, some local meats from the butchers, as well as we like to go there for even some little treats or flowers. There's lots of things that you can get at the farmers market. So a nice benefit of living in the Sacramento region.
So outside of grocery shopping and cooking at home, your other option is eating out, right? So for us, a family of four eating out at like a fast food restaurant typically runs anywhere between like $40 and $60. And then if we're gonna go eat at like a restaurant like BJ's or something, it's gonna run you about $150 at least. And for date night, a high-end restaurant like a Morton's or a Ruth Chris, any of those higher-end steakhouses, you can expect to pay about $150. And then if you're drinking alcohol and so forth and gonna have dessert, then you can definitely expect to pay over $200. So that wraps up our 6 cost of living factors for right here in Sacramento. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe, and tap that notification bell so that you are notified each and every time that we drop content.
Most of our relocation clients actually find Sacramento cheaper than where they're coming from, because a lot of times they're coming from the bigger metropolitan areas in California like San Francisco or LA. But no matter where you're relocating from, we would love to help you navigate all these intricacies and find the place and location within the Sacramento region that will fit your cost of living needs.
Yep. And to make sure that there's no surprises for you guys. So don't hesitate to give us a call, send us a text message, send us an email, schedule a meeting in the description below. However it is that you want to get a hold of us, we got your back when moving to Sac and the Sacramento region. See you guys in the next video.